before you came on, we were, discussing everything, and you had some concerns about your offense being a little bit anemic. So, like, where are your areas of concern? Because obviously Altuve is been phenomenal again and on pace for, I think, his fourth 200 hit season in a row. So, no problems there.
Yeah, knock on wood, knock on wood. We need 200.
Yeah, right.
So where does the team need to improve?
I mean, yeah, I think the offense was more of a concern. I mean, it's still a concern. There's still definitely some holes. It's come on in the last 2 weeks, I think, or week to 2 weeks. I think some of the guys that just kind of need to pick it up a little bit, mainly Carlos Correa. He's had a really tough time in May. His strikeout percentage so far this year is at 24%, which is way too high for him. A guy who's, that talented should not be striking out that much. And so I think that's been, kind of the main theme in the offense this year, is just a team that all of a sudden went from, during our Astros rebuild, a lot of what we were branded as was, as an offense, we were really boom or bust. We had guys like Chris Carter and Colby Rasmus and Luis Valbuena who had hit like a bunch of home runs, but also struck out a ton. So we were very like home run or strikeout. And then last year in the World Series championship team, they were the best, the Astros were the best hitting for contact team in the league. And so kind of seeing a trend back towards the high strikeouts has been a cause for concern for the Astros. But then there are also guys like Alex Bregman who have been walking a lot more than in their career so far. Like, I think Bregman's been the most underrated hitter for the Astros so far this year.
He's been doing really well this year. He's like batting 270, just about 266, but he's getting on base. He's stealing a few bags here and there. He's being much more patient. He started out slow this year as well, too. He's batting like 180 after the first couple of weeks.
Exactly, yeah, and he's really come on strong. He made it a goal to improve his plate discipline, and it's definitely showing. And then we've gotten a nice boost from Tony Kemp, who came up from the minor leagues and has really done a nice job so far. He's not striking out as much as I think a lot of people thought he would when he came up. Less than 10% of the time so far, although it's a small sample. And then another guy that's been an unsung hero, and the catcher situation has been interesting for the Astros for sure, is Max Stassi, who is a guy who has definitely struck out a ton. He struck out over 30%, but he's hitting 294 with a 360 on base still and a few, 4 home runs now, which no one expected. Like, Stassi's has been a guy that really struggled to make the majors behind McCann and Gaddis, and all of a sudden we decided to take 3 catchers and transition Gaddis out of the DH role. And Stassi stepped up now, and you guys will see him. I think it'll really surprise you.
He's batting 300 with 5 home runs this year. So
exactly.
Coming up in 31 games played. So it's not that small of a sample size anymore.
Right, and I guess also, McCann is out this weekend, so you guys will see a lot of Stassi for sure, because McCann's on the disabled list right now.
Getting back to Altuve, there's a lot of talk about this upcoming free agency class. Harper is, I don't believe it, but there's a lot of hype that says he'll get a $400 million deal. Maybe Machado will get upwards of 300. And how surprised were you at not only the fact that Altuve agreed to a 5-year, $150 million deal, but the way it was actually structured so that he'll still serve out his arbitration before the deal kicks in? Because for a reigning American League MVP, I couldn't believe it. To me, I took that as a sign as some agents were just kind of chickening out and taking the guaranteed money now versus sweating out a really stressful off season. That seems to be lasting longer and longer every year.
Yeah, it was definitely an interesting deal. But we were all really pumped up in Houston about it. I think Altuve, by the time his career is over, is going to have a very strong argument, if he doesn't already, for the greatest Astro of all time. And so that was really a priority for the front office, obviously, locking him up to be an Astro for his whole career. And I think, when it came to that, first of all, Scott Boras is his agent. So that guy's not really going to get cheated very much, even though he might have a couple times this offseason because he kind of drug things out a lot. Anyways.
Well, he's always going to try to get every nickel and dollar on the dime there. So,
exactly. That's what I meant. Yeah. That's what I meant. So, I think, though, if you look at it, Altuve would have gone on the market after the 2019 season. which would have been coming into his age 30 season. So to be honest with you, I don't think he would have commanded the same money that a Harper and Machado are getting now, even close to that. When Harper and Machado are in their mid-20s and Altuve being a 30-year deal, especially with Altuve's height and his, I guess concerns about longevity as far as playing second base is not really necessarily the easiest position to play. And so for him taking $30 million a year for 5 years is really, I thought, was a good deal for him, and obviously a good deal for the Astros to get a guy like him. But I don't think he would have commanded too much more than $30 million a year when he came on the market, especially if he were to show any sort of decline. Because really what made Altuve so much more valuable over the last 2 years was that he added a lot of power to his game, which no one expected. I mean, he was a great, an awesome singles hitter his whole career. And all of a sudden, 2016, 2017, he started working on taking more pitches, being more selective, improving his launch angle, and he's hitting 24 home runs a year. And so at that value, with those numbers, commanding $29 million a year is worth it. I mean, it's not worth it. Sorry, it's losing the word. Respectable.
It makes sense.
He earns it. Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
But it's also I don't think the Astros are underpaying him for that. I don't think it was a hometown discount. I think if he would have come on the market after the 2019 season, if he showed any regression in power, it might be less. But with his numbers from last year, I think $30 million a year is pretty respectable. And that's still a lot of money. 5 years, $150. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just Dave and I were talking about it before the show, and I'm just how infinitely better is Bryce Harper than Jose Altuve? Regardless of their age, because Altuve isn't slowing down. Usually by now you would see a downward trend, and it's just not happening. I mean, the guy's a machine.
Yeah, I mean, you look at Harper, and he's younger. Obviously, he's 25. So, he's not even in the prime of his career yet, and, you hear that all the time. But, stats-wise, Harper, average-wise, he's not going to blow you away. Here are his averages from rookie season to now. 270, 274, 273, 330 in 2015, 243, 319, and 240 right now. So 2 years of batting over 300, 3 years of batting in 270s, 1 year batting in 240, currently batting 240. He's going to slug a lot. His OPS is going to be close to 1,000. He's going to hit you home runs. He's going to hit you a good amount of doubles. But, is he the best fielder? Not really the best fielder. Is he going to hit for average for your team? No, he's not. So it really kind of picks and goes. It shows, A, how good Mike Trout is and how much better Mike Trout is than Bryce Harper. There's no disrespect to Bryce Harper. It's just that's how good Mike Trout is. It just shows what your team values more. Do they care about launch angles and RBIs and home runs, or do they care about singles, doubles, and 15 to 20 home runs in Altuve?
Right. Exactly.
But he's not that much better.
Yeah. I think the whole thing with Altuve and Harper is Harper's a guy that's still going to hit for power. I think people think 10 years from now, whereas 10 years from now, is Altuve going to be hitting 25 home runs a year? Probably not. He's probably going to regress back down to his 10, 12 home runs and still getting, 180 hits per year and just, whipping a bunch of singles across the diamond and, hitting for a high on-base percentage. But having a high on-base percentage, but I don't think he's going to be keeping his power. Whereas Harper is 25, can still hit 30 home runs for the next 13 years. And so I think that's where the discrepancy is. But also, I've just had a tough time thinking that $150 million over 5 years is a tough thing to scoff at.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm a big value guy, and I'm pulling up the standings as we speak. Let's see. Oh, Washington has taken the lead finally, but what do they have to show for Bryce Harper, and what is giving him, $40 million a year over 10 years gonna?
It's just potential. I think it's just, like we just talked about, he's going to be able to hit 30 plus, 40 plus home runs for the next 10 years, and he's going to hit doubles, and he'll walk 100 times a year, and He'll probably work on his strikeouts as well, and being that young, being able to play the outfield as well, he's not just a straight up DH. He's not, an elite right field, not elite outfielder, right fielder, but he is good enough out there. And if he can get his average to 300, I don't think he will. I think he'll always be like a 280 hitter. I think he'll sit there, and I think he'll sit at 35 home runs on average for his year, which is great. But it's just where baseball money is going anywhere. You're going to see, Bryant, Trout, Betts, Machado, Donaldson, Harper get 30+ million a year, Altuve, and I think that's just where the money's going.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know.
It's not right, and it's not fair. That it doesn't make sense. I totally agree with you. It just seems like that's kind of where it's going. Like, this is just becoming the norm now.
I just don't see how a general manager can feel good about giving Harper 400 when the Astros gave Altuve 150, and they're probably getting a lot more out of him. Like in terms of being a complete player. And then they're going to have all that much more money to allocate towards other things, other players. So it's just right. Bad business. I feel like, but
yeah, it's scary when you put all your eggs in one basket. You really run to a Pablo Sandoval or Carl Crawford or a Hanley Ramirez or a Adrian Gonzalez situation.
Right. Absolutely. Let's. For the final segment here, just kind of go through the pitching matchups before we wrap here. I had it up, but apparently I was.
I've got them up here if you guys want to.
Yeah. Do you need them? I got them as well.
Okay, I think I have them. Well, tomorrow is Pomeranz against McCullers, so. I'm just going to congratulate you right now, Issa, on your win tomorrow. Cause
Pomeranz has been good for you guys. What are you talking about?
Yeah, he's been crushing it, actually. His record really doesn't show how great he's been.
Yeah. Oh, my God. He ought to – now, never mind. I'm not going to say what I was going to say.
So what do you guys think? I'll go first. I think we're going to split the series. It's a 4-game set. I think we're going to win 2.
I'll let you go. I'll let you both of you guys go first. I'll go last.
All right. I'm saying Astros 3-1.
Astros 3-1. So which 3? I'm curious.
I think
tomorrow for sure.
Yeah, we're losing tomorrow. I think Sale could probably bounce back and get a win, or maybe it'll be Porcello. A lot of people are going to say David Price, but I'm really curious to see this start because, he's kind of been running his mouth off the field, especially in his press conference. And this is going to be his first big test since that meltdown he had where he had to be flown out of New York, where he I think he chickened out. That's my own opinion. I'm a David Price hater.
Yeah.
But
no David Price hating podcast here.
I'm a hater, but it's got to be somewhat daunting for David Price to be opposing a guy like Justin Verlander, who has been there, done that, and is really everything that David Price aspires to be, yet can never be. So I think Price is gonna. I think he's going to get thumped pretty good that start. So I think our one win is going to come from either Porcello, which now that he's facing Morton, I just feel so sick about this series. But
Erod against Carpenter though.
Erod? No, he's not in the series.
Oh, never mind. That's the next one. Yep, sorry.
Yeah.
I meant to say
Sale and Cole.
Sale against yeah.
Yeah.
Sale against Cole is probably our best bet there because Sale. I mean, it's Chris Sale. Come on.
You guys are nasty. Exactly. Your number 5 is better than our number 2.
I know.
Well, I don't know. I mean, Price has been well up, until proven otherwise, and. Erod's been lights out, so I mean, but
yeah, he's been pitching well.
I just and we're at Houston for this, so I don't know. How do you see it playing out, Issa? I mean, who concerns you the most of any of the starters?
I mean, obviously Sale, come on. But, like,
yeah.